tuning in to watch this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new punk rock videos every week and tap the bell to get notified when new videos drop. My name is Erin Micklow, and I'm here with photographer and musician Nathan James. How are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for having me here in your room.
Oh yeah, this is my room. I probably got the dopest room ever. Made this bed, as you can see in the back. Collaged the headboard and everything.
That's cool.
Took me like, I think a week to make. Painted it pink. Got the black silk sheets. You know, it's a vibe.
So let's talk about, obviously, you know, doing my research for this interview. Like, you are a very established photographer. One of my favorite things you've shot was obviously Machine Gun Kelly's album, Tickets to My Downfall.
Yeah, it was a big one.
It was a really big one.
Yeah.
But doing my research, I saw that you had to actually reshoot that. Can you talk about the story of that?
Yeah, that was a crazy setup. The original cover was a drawing, but the drawing was copyrighted. Whoever the artist was copied an already drawn image.
Yeah.
And then so the cover had to be reshot. So I get a FaceTime from MGK saying like, yo, why don't you shoot my cover, you know, for his album. And it was super last minute, it was super random too. I was actually on his Spotify, just kind of like looking at all the growth he's had these like past recent years. And then I get a FaceTime from him. So like that was kind of the ironic situation of it. And then went over to his house. We didn't really know what we're doing. We just kind of did like the classic Nathan James like headshot stuff, and came out really fire. We thought we had the cover, and then like a day later, he's like, "Hey, you know, I think it's just too editorial magazine like looking." So then the next day or two, he calls me back. He's like, "Yo, we got to reshoot it." So we go to his house. There's like an hour left that he has. You know, he only has like an hour to shoot this thing. We have no idea what we're gonna shoot. And Modson just is like kind of downstairs where his pool is at outside, and it was empty at the time. And there were crazy fires going on during that time. And like it was very like tons of ash that were like raining from the sky. And it was like that nice, like soft lighting outside.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we just shot it in the pool, and like, you know, we didn't have much time. So if we did a setup, I would take a photo, then show it to him, like, hey, do we like this? Do we want to continue to do, you know, these angles or something different? And we did a couple different angles. Then this one angle, we just like did a test. We're like, yo, real quick, boom, shot it, showed him. He's like, that's it, we're done, that's the cover. And so that ended up being the cover. And the plaque's on my wall back there somewhere.
All my freaks come out at night, we came to raise, they came to fight. When the girls show up, they show you love. Go just as hard when they start to shove. Fishnets and stockings, black boots and little skirts. Sex drive so shocking, she'll choke your neck and make it hurt.
Well, so yeah, with that too, I did see, you know, obviously when it dropped during the pandemic, it was on the side of the Whiskey A Go-Go, which was really cool.
So cool. Yeah.
Well, so how was that? I mean, I saw you guys had like, there was a social media clip that got picked up by the entertainment sites, and it was like, at one point you thought he was joking, of like he was just having a mood of like wanting to change the album cover that you had shot because it was such a short time span that you needed to reshoot a new one.
Yeah, I think...
and he had signed like 13,000 copies.
Yeah, he had signed a bunch of copies of like the drawing one, and then the new one that we shot that wasn't like turned in or released yet, but what we thought was going to be the cover. We didn't use that one either.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, we literally like got it in like the nick of time and stuff. And it's, to this day, like, I remember that day when we went to the Whiskey to take photos outside of the billboard of Tickets to My Downfall. He was like, bro, I really think like, you know, if you wouldn't have come back to shoot this cover, this album wouldn't have gone like #1. Because I the image for, you know, him reviving this pop punk stuff and going back to his like rock and roll roots of everything, I think it was really key for like outsiders, whether you know who Machine Gun Kelly was or if you're kind of like not sure.
Yeah.
That image really like stood a staple of like what kind of, you know, the cover looks like, what the music sounds like.
It does.
So it blended really beautifully, and sometimes art just, you know, comes together kind of unplanned and last minute. Sometimes that's the best stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Unplanned stuff.
No, I mean that cover exactly like you said, it represented the album perfectly, because also that album dropped at, you know, such a dark time in the middle of the fucking pandemic when we
Yeah.
were all on lockdown still, and like shit sucked. It
Yeah.
sucked a lot. Like that album was like one for me, one glimmering hope of like something to hold on to, of just, you know, a really great pop punk album.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Just and beyond pop punk, just like as a whole, like rock in general, there was no real like staple artists that are newer and, you know, have some, you know, freshness to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So for him to drop that and really have that big of an impact really helped revive all sorts of, you know, different genres of rock, whether it's, you know, pop punk, new metal, and metal in general, or just any type of hardcore shit. I mean, it's just traveled everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and I did see in an interview that you did about 8 months ago, you were talking about you would love to be a tour photographer, and you're actually on the Mainstream Sellout Tour right now shooting for Avril Lavigne.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Man, what's wild is like sometimes I think back to how I started photography. Like literally my mom just sent me a camera in the mail,
Yeah.
and it was like a little shitty Olympus camera, and I would go to like an alley, set the camera on a tripod, run in front of it and like pose. And it's just kind of surreal sometimes to think about, like, you know, at the time I never thought like this would be like a career and like what I do, and especially the level of people that I shoot. So it's kind of sometimes like trips me out. You know, sometimes I'm like so used to it, and then when I like step back or talk with someone about it, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty crazy. I do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't realize it at the time, you know?
Well, because you put in the work of, you know, to get to where you are now. And so it's like, it doesn't feel like it happened overnight, because it's like you did the work. You put your time in. You've done
so much time.
a bazillion shoots, and
Yeah, so much time. And the beauty of like being a creative is when you're, no matter what you do, whether you're creative or you're, you know, pursuing a certain level of career, like the best thing I feel like anyone can do is just keep an open mind with knowing that your passions and visions and dreams of what your original goal is will always grow, blossom, and change. And it's important not to resist that change or those urges and wants to, you know, pivot and try something similar or different, or, you know, a twist to it. And so like for me, you know, photography led myself accidentally into me becoming my own music artist and doing my own music stuff. And I never would have thought I'd be this big time photographer, and then through that would create my, you know, music career.
Yeah.
And my music career came about from photography gallery I did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And it was wildly successful. It was what was the name of it? You did it
Nightmares.
Nightmares, and it was like what, you sold out like 8 times the gallery capacity.
Yeah, it was so cool. I got a little small like 100 cap like gallery, because I was like, man, I hope like 100 people or so, or 50 people come. But then like 800 people like RSVP'd, and there was a line around the building, and like we had to do groups of like 100-ish, 75 people at a time, to like see the gallery for 15 minutes, look at the pieces. There was a whole like, I had a speaker like explaining each piece, and then after the whole little like tour of it, you could purchase prints and everything, and it was just for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So like that whole 4-hour setup took like 4 months to organize and orchestrate and come up with the whole concept and idea and everything. And you know, each piece was named after a different insecurity that I've gone through in my life, and I know that other people go through. And so each song was representative of what the name of the piece was and what the piece visually like looked like. And so that's how I started to dabble in the music, because I wanted to create another art medium that also correlates with the photograph, and that being music, you know? And so I did these 6 songs, and I never put them out. They were fucking terrible. But I learned that, wow, I really love this. I can't believe I've never even thought about trying this or pursuing this. Like, it was never even a thought ever.
I see it in your face. What a love in a race. All leather and lace. I keep you burning and safe. I keep you burning and safe. I won't let your angels know. A secret safe, it won't be told.
Well, so how was it for you not being a musician yet at that time, but having that idea that you're like, okay, I want to have music that I'm going to make that's going to go to this photo gallery? Like, how did it, like, logistically go making those songs?
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. Like, I've never was like this, like, music connoisseur, like, you know, like, oh, I know all these, like, facts and things. I was just like, I like music and I'll just listen to whatever I like, you know?
Yeah.
I was never like dissecting of like, oh, there's verses and bridges and breakdowns and all these things. I was like, this just sounds lit, you know? And so when I started to make my own songs, I was like, yeah, you know, like, how do you even arrange a song? So like, you know, I kind of had to figure that whole process out of like what the structure of a song and how you make a song, you know? So that was a whole nother learning process to figure out, because I've always just been, you know, a listener, not a music maker, you know? So then I've just continued to grow more and more over these 2 years and develop my sound, where now it's sitting kind of, you know, in the newer new metal, industrial, alternative, hard rock kind of stuff. You know, there's just different elements of genres and the things that I'm putting out now, and all my unreleased stuff too. And I'm just loving where I'm at now with my sound of things, and all my newer stuff and the stuff that's gonna be coming out. And for now, that's the direction I want to keep going, and we'll see where things like progress into.
Yeah. No, I love a lot of your new songs. Like, listening to the singles that you have released, you have had a definite evolution in your music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely...
Went from like super sad, like emo rap, to then more pop punky, to then like the new metal stuff.
It's like, you know? Super Marilyn Manson vibes right
now.
now.
Yeah, kind of Marilyn, Deftones, Nine Inch Nails, Rob Zombie.
A lot more sex. Can we talk about some of your lyrics? It's like...
Yeah, there's some vulgar lyrics. But they're descriptive and they're real. I always like say to some people when they hear that stuff, they're like, oh man, like, dude, that's pretty like on the nose. And I'm like, well, like, it's real. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
the first listen of some of your songs, it's like, and then it's just, then you listen a few more times and it's like, oh, wow. And like, it gets less shocking.
Yeah. You want to know the coolest shit that happened to me while on this tour with AVRIL and MGK?
Yeah.
Two shows ago, literally 2 shows ago, MGK gets off stage and he's walking in the back hall and he's walking towards me and I'm taking pictures as he's walking towards me. Mm-hmm. And I'm so focused on just shooting him. Yeah. I didn't realize like what he was saying, but he was singing part of my song, Sex Doll, the lyrics to it, like on repeat as he's walking up to me. And I didn't even realize it. And I go into my room like, oh, well, that's what he was doing. I was like, oh, wait, motherfucker was singing my song. That's so lit. He was literally singing Sex Doll, my song, right? And he called me up like 60 seconds later. I'm like, hello? He's like, bro, did you understand what the fuck I was saying to you? And I was like, yeah, but it didn't register until like you left. And he's like, how did you not hear the sound? I was like, oh, I was just focused on taking photos of you. I just wasn't thinking of it. And he's like, bro, I fucking love that song. It's stuck in my head. Like, you know,
it's a great
that's
song.
How it should be. And then he was like, you want to hear my remix of it? And then took part of my lyrics and made it his own version over the phone. And I was like, damn, I wish that was on camera because that was fucking lit. So that was cool as shit. And he's been so supportive too of just like all my music stuff. And when I first joined the tour of this Mainstream Sellout tour, the first day and that we linked up on the tour and saw each other, he walks up to me, he's like, bro, me and the band, we always talk about you, bro. We always say like Nathan's gonna do something big with his music stuff. And I literally got the chills. I was just like, hearing that come from a level of artistry like himself to just like little old me felt like so like, damn, that felt good to have that validation from someone who's very credible to continue to, you know, do the things that I'm doing and deal with all the bullshit and the struggle and the trial and error. So that whole moment from the first day to those 2 shows ago where he's singing my song and then remixing it to me over the phone was like crazy, and like all the motivation and drive I need to just like continue to keep going.
Blinded by your evil eyes, I don't know if it's just a disguise. I won't let your angels know our secret's safe and won't be told. Tie me down and take my soul. I won't let your angels know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to him on that. That was big time. Maybe I'll get him on a song one day. We'll see. Get him on the remix of Sex Doll.
I could see it. I could see it. So let's talk about your new single, License to Mosh.
Love it.
What inspired this? I saw you have kind of a backstory behind that.
Yeah. So License to Mosh, I was in Vegas. We're at this rock show at some fucking hotel. And me and my friends, usually at like these shows, love to start like some crazy pits. And we start this crazy mosh pit. We're going fucking nuts. And I get tackled by security. And they're like, you can't be moshing. We don't have a license to mosh. And I didn't know that was like a thing that some venues actually need a license to mosh. And so I could not get over it the whole night. And I kept saying like, license to mosh?
It's like, what jurisdiction is that? Is that a Vegas thing? Is that a US thing?
I was like, that's crazy. I didn't know that. So I kept saying it. I was like, bro, that's a name of a song. And I was like, I'm going to write that down on my phone and maybe I'll like make a song one day called License to Mosh. And then I did. And then the whole song is kind of just about like that concert punk rock atmosphere of just like what it's like being at those shows, you know. And so that's kind of that whole descriptive moment of things, you know. And I always tell people, like, especially now, one of the things I like to do with my songs is, you know, I like to make it have 2 types of sounds. One being sex and the other being I'm gonna punch you in the fucking teeth. And it's like the combination of the 2 that I really like blending together.
Yeah.
Or going more on the sex side or going more on the punch you in the teeth side. But definitely like that blend of sex and punch you in the teeth is like what I like my sound to feel like. You know? So yeah.
Is that reflective of your own personal life?
Yeah, I think that's reflective of myself too. Is I'm not like a fighter. I don't get in fights. Like I've been in like not many fights. I'm a pretty chill guy, you know. Like I don't get worked up and fight people and stuff like that. But I'm aggressive in the sense of my drive to accomplish like whatever goals I have set forth. So I move aggressively in what I want to achieve and get done.
Yeah.
And then I'm also just like deeper than just like the actual act of sex. Like when I talk about sex, it's deeper than just like 2 people fucking. Like I think sexual things and like the human body and like just like that connection, you know, of whether people are straight or gay or whatever, like there's so much deeper things in sex that's not talked about, and it's always kind of like this like elephant in the room question. People are afraid or uncomfortable to talk about it. And I just like being real I just like being real in general about all things, you know? And I feel like that's just something too that I'm just very open about, and something I just know a lot about. And so it just makes sense. I literally just talk about things that I know and that I've experienced, or things that I envision as if like it's a movie. A lot of songs I'll write or try to put together, I literally like see a movie scene in my head. I'm like, okay, now sonically, what sound would fit that? Let's make that into the song. You know, so that's kind of how sometimes the writing process will go.
Yeah, you do what you feel.
Yeah, you know, and I'm very visual. You know, coming from the photography, videography world, like very visual of seeing something, then how do we make that something in your head be a song? It's a whole story and visual thing. When you listen to it, you can see it.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I try to go for.
Itsy bitsy spider climbing to my mouth. Pink and purple dresses rip me inside out. Walk like a dog, you can play with me.
So I wanted to talk about, you've done all singles up until now.
Yeah, all singles.
Do you think that you'll do a full-length album soon?
Yeah, you know, I want to do a full-length album. I also just want to make sure I have the right like marketing plan and marketing budget
Yeah.
to properly push it.
Yeah.
And the singles game works really well right now because it allows me to stay consistent of releasing a new single every like 6 to 8 weeks with the music video.
Yeah.
But I would also love to just put out a full album or even just an EP, some kind of body level of a project that's like, hey, this is Nathan James currently.
Yeah.
Instead of just singles. Because I think people sometimes, you know, like I said, I started out kind of like some very slow, sad boy shit to now just like hard shit, and I'm finding my pocket more. So if you're looking at my songs, you might be confused of, well, what does this guy do? Because right now it's a little bit of everything. But where I'm heading now, it's just like, it's just new wave, new fucking rock shit, really.
I like it. Like seeing your evolution, I do think that's like you're finding yourself as an artist because you just started music in 2019, is that right?
2020. Yeah, 2020 put out my first song.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's only been, you know, less than 2 years and you have to find your way. So it's like maybe to put out an album at this time would be a bit premature because it would be, instead of a collective piece,
Totally.
be a little all over the place.
Yeah, I think, like you're saying, I think timing always finds itself.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't always have the answers right away. And the best thing you can do to get an answer is just let time take its place. And that time will give you the answer, you know?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We'll see how things plan out. I mean, right now it's a singles game for me, but I can't wait to just like drop a project with, you know, a bunch of new songs and stuff. So we'll see.
Well, that's kind of been the trend for a minute, is like a lot of artists are doing singles, and it almost feels like, especially artists when they have teams and things, it's because it's maybe a bit less risky than doing a full album. It's less of a financial investment, and you can kind of see like, okay, what are people vibing to if I release a single, and then maybe do more of that.
Yeah, and what helps too is like when you release a single versus if you release like 10 new tracks, is it's hard to promote 10 new tracks.
Yeah.
You know, so if you do just a single, it really gives you the time to focus and allow you to really spend energy in putting effort into that track.
For sure.
You know, so something I may do is take some of my recent singles and just put them on an EP. That way it remarkets all the current singles I put.
Yeah.
But just on one project. So that gives them all another chance to go again.
So here's a question. Do you think you would ever do another art gallery show like that with music, and maybe that would be the time to drop a full-length album or an EP because you need more?
Actually, that's a great idea. Honestly, yes, that would be probably the way I'd like to see myself doing it.
Because that show was so wildly successful, I was wondering, would you do another one?
Yeah, and I the reason I hadn't is because of COVID for, you know, the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But 1000% would love to almost take the songs that I've created and aren't out yet, or that are out, and shoot something that is representative to that.
Yeah.
Would be really cool, which honestly sometimes, you know, my single covers kind of represent the song. So some of those covers may even work as part of the gallery. So I would have to debate though, like would I want these images to be of me or other people or like, you know, different landscapes or something? Like I'm not sure yet, but that's a dope idea. You might see me do it. We'll see.
You totally should. You should.
I like that idea a lot. That's really dope.
Well, so obviously with the transition of your music, your personal style has transitioned quite a bit. You kind of were like this hip hop kid, and you were the self-titled, you know,
Photo Poppy.
Yeah, Photo Poppy.
Yeah, I was on my Latin vibe. Well, you know what's crazy? So like I've had so many different, I don't know what you call it, but like just trends of my fashion, I guess.
Yeah.
Like in elementary school, I was very skater boy, like goth gangster, I guess was the it was like gothic gangster vibe. And same with middle school. Middle school was like very gothic gangster. High school was very just like, also kind of like very new metal-y, like, you know, 90s, early 2000s, like new metal, like Limp Bizkit type of vibe. And when I started photography, then it kind of switched over to like this kind of like Latin influence, Photo Poppy, Mr. Suave, like, you know, Cuban vibe, hair slicked back, you know, type of vibe. And then now it's kind of more back to like what it was when I was in middle school
Yeah.
and high school.
There's no shade to that. I
Yeah.
spent time traveling through Latin America in the last, year, and it was the same for me. People are shocked to learn that I love reggaeton music. And I'm
Oh,
like,
I
what?
love reggaeton. Yeah.
It's like, what? Can I like both?
Oh
like...
yeah, I think that's the beauty of when people have like a diverse palette of not only music but also like fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I'm very immersed in all like the genres of culture and fashion and music. I'm not just like, never to be one of those guys. Oh, I'm just this, and I started listening to this when I was 5. You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, I've listened to everything from jazz to reggaeton, hip hop, rock, heavy metal. Like I've listened to it all. I've been a part of it all.
Yeah.
And there's no shame of claiming all aspects. I'm
sure.
definitely very diversified in many different cultures and races and stuff like that. I've grown up in a fortunate situation where I got to experience many different types of people and cultures and musics and styles and fashion, and it's what is resulted to me now, a blend of all those things.
Yeah.
Wet eyes little girl wanna fuck with me. Choke on me when you're on your knees. Milk my dick till your eyes pop out. You can have my babies only in your mouth. Sexto, I'll be your sexto. Sexto. Break my bed and rip my sheets. Sexto, I'll be your sexto.
Well, so you originally moved here from Denver. Do you think that LA will suit you and you'll be a lifer here? Because it is a city that it's like people either love it or they kind of leave and move somewhere else. Or
Yeah, no, I think absolutely love LA. I just like how much it has to offer for the type of career I do.
Yeah, there's opportunity here.
Yeah.
That's why so many people moved
Yeah,
here.
especially if you're in entertainment,
Yeah.
So I could see myself living in the state of I don't know about LA, but definitely the state of California. I mean, the weather is great, and that's what's big to me is being from Colorado and growing up in all those years of winter snow, like not trying to do that. Yeah, I'm not big on the snow.
Well, so what's some of your least favorite parts about living in LA?
Well, traffic, and then you know what really sucks about LA? Is sometimes the world. I always tell people, like, when you come to LA, it's not moving to a different state. You're literally moving to like a different planet, right? I mean, it's just different. Like if you grow up in a small, typical suburban or urban town, wherever the fuck you grew up, that's like normal America, and you come here and you're pursuing the entertainment industry, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Like I didn't even know things like this existed. Or I didn't know there was opportunities in a career field like this. Like it's just stuff that you can't know or really understand until you've immersed yourself in the scene and the culture, of the entertainment space. Yeah, it's wild.
It is a thing, but I will say I've lived in LA for 15 years, and whenever I leave, I'll and if I'm gone for a while, I'm like, God, I miss LA.
Oh, same, right? Yeah, that's his case. You get all the shit talk you talk about LA when you go to another state, and that third day, fourth day hits at you, they're like, damn, get me back to LA.
I'm like, what the hell? There's like just even small things of like, they don't have oat milk here.
That's the most LA shit ever. Where's my almond milk skinny latte mocha frap? Upside down, twisted, light foam. Yeah, it's very LA. So.
It is. Well, so obviously you being an entrepreneur from a very young age, when you were in college, you had your shoe game. You were painting. You were painting shoes.
Yeah, I forgot. That is what transitioned.
And you were wildly successful with that. So for you as an entrepreneur, what are some businesses that you would like to start in the future, aside from photography and music?
That's a great question.
Because I feel like you would do more than that with all the things you have done.
Yeah, you know what I really want to do, and I've been talking about, is I want to make a legit as fuck movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had this movie idea, and I think it's just golden. I see so many movies now, and I call them fast food movies because they're like real cheap, and you can tell it's like, just, hey, let's just whip this up so we get something out. And I feel like a lot of art now is this fast food art mentality. instead of like a quality 5-star mentality.
For sure.
And, you know, some fast food art might be really dope, but I feel like a lot of fast food art just sucks, and it's not really that good, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like I see the fast food art taking place a lot in the movie industry. Definitely got something coming in the future with me creating a real life inspired, you know, based on a true story type of movie that will have elements of stuff from my life, maybe some of my friends' life or people I know, into just an overall just like crazy story. Like I want the story to just like explode you in the chest with emotion. It may piss people off, it may make people sad or confused, but by the end of the movie or some point in the movie, you're very gonna quickly feel yourself being like, I'm feeling some heavy emotions about this right now.
Do you see yourself as the director of the film?
Oh yeah, definitely be the director, 100%. I don't know if I'd be in it. Maybe I'm like make an appearance of like play a
Like the
character or
you
even play a
see-
main character. I don't know. I just want it to be whatever's gonna be the best.
You know, like in The Hangover, the director, he like puts himself in
Yeah.
a really obscure scene.
Yeah.
Like, did you know the movie The Hangover?
Oh yeah, I love The Hangover.
The elevator scene of like the guy that's getting sucked on. That's the director.
That's the director.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, he put himself in a disguise, and that was his way
That's
of like putting
crazy.
himself in his own film.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd fully like be a main character in it or not. But whatever I would do with it, I would definitely just want it to be like the best it can be.
For
with
sure.
me in it or with not me in it, you know?
For sure.
Whatever's best for the film, honestly. So
My neck and use your teeth. Candy cane, licorice, lollipop. Shake you off my fingers.
Well, so for you, last question I want to ask, what goals do you have, you know, coming up for your photography and for your music? I feel like you've done so much, but I really feel like you're kind of just getting started, because seeing
Yeah.
your growth as an artist, like I feel like you're really in this time right now with your photography and your music where it really is taking shape, and it's you're doing really good things.
yeah, you know what's crazy? It's crazy that you say that, because you can definitely say like, you know, hey, you know, Nathan, you've reached this success and this and this. But also it's such like the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things happening that are just way bigger or like, you know, kind of rumbling than what I've already have done.
Yeah.
And so I'm just super excited. I'm trying to do a lot better of a job of like not being so hard on myself and like judging myself, because for a while I was in a dark spot for sure. Just really like beating myself up with all sorts of shit, and I would sometimes like I'd have this dream that I always have, and sometimes I'd like think about it late at night, but it's literally this dream where like I would go on my balcony and like hang myself with this rope, and someone would find me there in the morning just like swinging.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. And I called my friend called me one night that I hadn't spoken to in years, and he just told me some things. We talked about stuff. It's like, call it like the perfect time.
Yeah.
And I legitimately told him, and I feel legitimately that he saved my life with the conversation that we had. And I think sometimes people pull like the depression card and the anxiety card, like wear it proudly like a designer bag, but like I think it's kind of overused, and you know, so that when people actually do talk about it or really struggle with some serious stuff, it's not taken as serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going through some shit, you know, and that's not something I wear proudly and want to talk about all the time. It's just more of like, I want to not feel like that. And so I definitely started to get to a place where I don't feel like this cloud over my head, and it fucking feels great. And I don't ever want to feel that way ever again.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has their moments and times, but you know,
Well,
I'm
what
not
was
religious.
it for you? Like, what was the thing that it was coming from? Just being hard on yourself, or like being new to LA and like, you know, the competition here, or like
Yeah,
what?
you know, it didn't even start when it started like, maybe like a year ago where it really got bad, like a year to 6 months ago where it really like got bad, and I never felt that way in my life. So I was so confused on like why is this?
Well, and that was
Kinda
around the
just,
time
like-
when you shot that album cover, right?
Yeah, it
or
was
like when it was released.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was
like,
Yeah, 2020 was a little bit of it, but like 2021, early 2022, which still is early 2022, that's when I was really just going through it. I don't know what was going on, but I'm just glad I've figured it out
yeah.
to kind of release all that bad negative energy and spirits and stuff. And I'm not a religious guy, but I wanted to feel better. And my friend really is a religious guy. And he goes, Nate, I know you're not like a religious guy or anything, but just try this. He's like, when you feel those negative and dark, energies and spirits, literally just say, in the name of Jesus, leave. And I was like, I know it sounds like so like cringe and corny to say that, but I was like, man, I'll do whatever is gonna make me feel better, And I like was trying it, and here I am walking around my room in the name of Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, and it was crazy, but I swear to you, not a joke. It
Did you
worked.
ever? I mean,
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a religious guy.
Were you able to say it with respect, or were you sarcastic?
Yeah, I was just like, yo, in the name of Jesus, like all this bullshit, this anxiety, this bad energy, like get out, Because I had like some real bad heart issues because my blood pressure was super high from just always being so tense and just not being able to sleep. And, so I'm on this medicine now to, level it all out. And I'm just way more in control of my mental and physical emotions to where I'm not so worked up all the time.
Yeah.
So it's totally just changed my life really quick by just being aware of those things and then knowing how to respond when I feel that way instead of just feeling that way and not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And so what helped me was to be able to physically say like, yo, all that bullshit, like you got to go,
Yeah.
It's not over here, go over there, so.
Yeah, and I think it is just that of just saying like it's setting a boundary of like, hey, you just can't be here. Jesus in the equation or no Jesus, it's more just like.
Yeah, and like again, it feels so funny for me to say that because I am not one to, I'm not against religion and I'm not for it. I'm just more about like whatever you want to believe in and feel and do, like awesome for you.
Yeah.
And same goes for me. I'm just kind of like here existing and I just want good energy and not bad energy. So whatever's going to help me feel that and embrace all the good and get rid of the bad, I'm for it.
For sure.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's but that was such a key moment. We talked on the phone for like 2 hours, told me all this stuff. And then he was like, anytime you start to feel that way, start to say that.
Yeah.
And I realized like the first 2 days, I must have said it like 150 sometimes. I was constantly in this state of just feeling so like worked up, like chest just pounding. And I wasn't even like knowing why. But then it slowly became just less and less to where like I don't even say it anymore because I don't have those feelings. And it's great. It's been super great. It's just helped me become more level-headed and just clear focused. Huge game fucking changer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to close with that and
Hell
say
yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It'll only hurt for a second.
Are you sure?
I'll put you back together. And then you'll die. Again.
Mommy's little slut, I'm a twisted freak. No more heart tore out of me. 666, she's a witch's bitch. Got an open wound, not a single stitch.
Yo, it's your boy Nathan James, and you're watching Last Rockers TV.
I want you to love me. So I break it back for free.